Hello class, this is a tutorial on what I want you to do in order to finish up your Blender hard surface modeling project. Now, at this point, for most of you, you should be at the point in the project where you've got your sort of robotic arm modified and modeled, you've got some various materials applied to it, and you're just about ready to do the final thing, which is render it. Now, before we render this project, one of the things that we need to do is we need to set up both a camera and a background for rendering. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up the camera first because I want to create an interesting sort of a viewport to look through, and that'll help me kind of determine how my background is going to look as well. So let's start with a really basic setup here. I'm going to go Shift A to add in a new object. And then I'm going to go down here to the bottom, so just near kind of the bottom sort of quarter, we're going to find camera. I'm going to select camera. Now, one thing I want to do when I add a camera in is I'm just going to hit S, and I'm going to scale it up as much as possible. So S again, scale, just because I want a camera that's big enough that I can kind of see it pretty easily. And then I'm going to go G, and let's just move it along our x-axis, and G, Y, move it along this one. Now, there's a couple different ways we can kind of set up our viewpoint for the camera. And the way that I find works easiest and is kind of the most intuitive is to use what's called a view lock. So if you hit your N menu, so if you don't see your menu, you hit N to go to your N menu and select View. So we have Item Tool, View. And what we're going to do is we're going to lock camera to view, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click on the little camera icon right here. So that's lock camera to view, camera icon. Now this sort of orange thing right here is going to kind of give me my camera, and I can pan around. So I'm just using like shift middle mouse button. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I want to create kind of a nice nice view of this here, kind of maybe, yeah, kind of like that. That looks kind of good. Do you want to go in a little closer? Yeah. That. By the way, if you hold down Shift while you're zooming in and out, it's going to do it. Sorry. Hold down Control. No, I'm not sure. Well, we'll leave it as this. This is a pretty decent render, I think. That looks good. Now, what I'll do is make sure you don't start moving things around yet. I want you to click out of camera view. And then I can also just turn off that camera to view, just because it's so easy to go back into camera view and then end up like screwing it up. Now, one thing that you can do to make this next bit easier is if I select here on camera to view, or I select my camera here, I kind of know it's going to be facing in this direction, kind of a shot like that. So let's add in one more object. Let's go Shift A. We're going to add in a mesh. We're going to add in a plane. Then I'm going to hit S to scale, draw that out. Go back close, S to scale again. Ooh, that's maybe a little big. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try and look from the same angle here as the sort of the camera. So I'm going to hit R and then Z. I'm going to kind of try and rotate like this, so I'm kind of matching it. Then I go G. I'm going to move it. I'm going to look at the top view. So I'm going to hit tilde and go top view. And then I can go G. And I'm just going to move it so that I kind of am seeing, so that my crane sits kind of right there. The camera facing this way, and so if I look at my camera view now, kind of see the plane here. It's a little bit forward and then going backwards. I click out of the camera again. I'm going to switch now to, let's go switch to right view. And it's kind of hard to see. So let's give it a little bit of solidity. It's like a plane is just a truly 2D object. So let's make it a little bit more of a 3D object. Let's go to our modifiers. Let's add just a little bit of a modifier to this. Let's add a solidify modifier. Let's go with like in the minuses there. I'm going to hold down Shift just to make it a little less. It doesn't need to be big. it's I gotta have like 0.004 meters, which is fine. And then if I can zoom in here a little bit, just so I can kind of see my wheels, I'm gonna hit GZ. I'm gonna drag this down so it kind of sits right there, just touching the wheel. I want it just touching. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, with this selected, I'm going to go Tab, right, to move into edit mode. I'm going to select the edge here, and I'm just going to extrude this, so EZ. So I'm going to extrude it up like that. GZ if I want to move it a little higher. Then I'm going to take a look through my camera. Okay. GZ. I can actually move it down. I only want it to like basically just outside of the camera's actual sort of viewpoint right here, because I want it to be. I don't want too much extra stuff. As soon as you have too much extra stuff, it actually blocks the light from the scene. While you're in the camera, by the way, make sure you set the focal length of the camera. I'm in edit mode, so I can't do it. I'm going to switch back into. Switch back here into object mode. So when you've got the camera selected, I'm just going to select it right here. Set the size or the focal length of the camera to 135 millimeters, just in case yours is different. Then I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to this view mode. Yeah, so focal length of 135 millimeters is nice. I'm going to go to edit mode, and let's select this edge and Control B or Command B. Sorry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a whole bunch of bevels here, right? Nice and smooth. I'm going to right click, I'm going to go back to object mode. I'm going to right click Shade Auto Smooth so it looks real clean. And let's take a look through the camera. So I'm going to click on the toggle camera view. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Got a decent background. Now this background needs a little bit of material so that it will obviously interact with the actual object we've made. So I'm going to go down here to materials, or material properties. See, we've got a couple of different material properties already. I'm just going to create a new one because I want this one to be a little different. I'm going to make it like a grayish color. I kind of like how that stands out. Maybe I should like shift it just into the blue a little bit. That kind of like brings this blue that I've got here kind of nicely. I like that. And then I'm gonna make it metallic, so I can get some nice sort of shadows. But I'm just gonna take the roughness down. I don't want to take it too much. Like if you go too high, it kind of I want a little bit right there. That looks kind of good. That looks nice. Maybe 0.5 was actually fine. Okay, then we are good to go. So now I can do my render. I have my materials. I've got a backdrop. I've got a camera. Right, this is my camera. Looking here. This is actually very similar to how you'd set up a product shot on an actual in an actual physical studio. We use a very similar sort of device to this to do product photography. Let's just look at our render here. Make sure your render engine is set to cycles. Let's change the format. So just under render, let's change the format. Let's go with 2,560 pixels by 14,040 pixels. That looks pretty good to me. The rest of that's fine. Let's go here to render properties. Good. Perfect. Now, when you want to render, you can do render and you can click on render image right here at the top, or you can hit F12, but go render and we're going to render this image. Now, rendering takes an incredibly long time. I'm not going to show you the whole process, although, man, this is going faster on my iMac at home. But the whole rendering process kind of goes in these little squares. It does a number of passes, calculates the light, balances the materials, etc. When you are done the render and you want to save your render result, that's right here under image, and then you'll just select Save As, and you're going to save it in your Blender folder under your hard surface tutorial. So you'll have a really nice sort of final result that you can use and put on your website. So I'm going to let this thing kind of render here in the background, and I'm just going to slightly close my screen down. Go down here, and I'm just going to close that briefly. And then I'm going to go to my Advanced Digital Asset Design page. This is your digital portfolio. So under 3D modeling in grade 12, we had Blender, and we've got a bunch of different sort of parts to this page. So I'm going to leave a link to this on the classroom as well. But this is the sci-fi trash can we're going to do next. Here's a solenoid that we're going to also do next. But for now, I'm going to get you to, under hard surface modeling, just add a new image. Sorry, we're going to go here. I want to add an image. And I'm going to upload eventually my render once it's completed. So that is kind of what I want you to do this class. Finish up any last bit of modeling, add in your background sort of reflector, set up your camera, and then render out your result and save it. So that's your kind of job. Make sure you spend some time doing a little bit of cleanup though on your final result with your materials and stuff before you jump into doing the render. Make sure you've got a really nice final product. And other than that, I'm going to let you go.